Rightio, so today I thought I would talk about how to use a drill doctor. In particular, this one is a 750X, which is one of their higher models. I'm not sure if there's something else after that. That might be some specialised sharpening machine, really specialised sharpening machine. I mean, this is a sharpening machine, but I think we go to the next level into thousands of dollars. Main reason why I'm doing this video is that in my line of work I am involved in selling these from time to time. Now some customers have come back and been less than impressed, and it's 99% of the time it's because they didn't set it up properly, they didn't use it properly. They're sort of bit of a guideline manual that comes with it. They used to give a CD that came with them, but anyway, I'm going to run through it and hopefully show you how it works and go forward from there. So the main features of the 750X is that you can do anywhere from 118 to about 140-ish degrees for your drill bits. You can also do a split point, which is a relief that is put in the drill on the side, and it gives you a smaller chisel, and it's supposed to stop wandering. I'm not a real fan of split points, but you know, some people may be. Also, the 750, unlike the 360 or the XP, you are able to adjust the depth of cut, which is done with this little knob on the side here. You do have a little port here which you can connect up a vacuum cleaner to if you're doing lots and lots of work. But other than that, they're reasonably pretty straightforward. It's just using them correctly, and even I basically had to do my own crash course on them because I had to try and solve problems the customers were having. So now I own one myself, and I use it in my little hobby metalworking workshop. So I thought this might be helpful to some people. So here you have a little chuck. Not sure if they call it a chuck, but I'm calling it a chuck. And so this is what the drill bits slide into. I think this will go down to as small as about a little bit under a 3mm or 1/8. I have snuck down to about 2.5. The problem is if you go too small, there's some jaws here that grip the flutes. They tend to have a hard time gripping the flutes and making it orient the drill in the right place. So to put your drill in, basically I think it goes up to a 19 or 3/4 drill as well. Slide it in like that, and I do it up just so it just is being held very lightly by the jaws. Can slide in and out. It's not loose, but you know. Now we need to backtrack slightly. I've sort of set up the fail in the beginning. This little window here shows you the degrees with which the angle is going to be cut on the drill. So when they come out of the shop, they're basically loose or locked down into the wide open position. So that's the first error a lot of customers do. They get it, they just use it how it is, throw it in, and you end up with a pretty good replica of an arrow, like an arrowhead, just sharp, almost pencil-like. So you need to move your little doodad. There's a 118 mark and a 135. I found on mine in particular that if you go to the 135 mark, right in the centre, it does tend to be almost out of bounds of what it can do. So I actually put it down underneath, so it's underneath the 135 mark. These are a mass-produced item. They may be just a little bit different. That's how I found with 135. I'm not really don't really use 135 degree drill bits, but I had to have a fiddle around to see how it works, and that's basically where I would put it. So it's underlining the 135. I found with the 118, I've just been using it right in the centre. You lock this little knob down, and that's not in the centre, it's drifted underneath. Right, back to our drill. So we've got this in here attached, just so it can be moved. Now I'm using a bit of a beater drill. It's all rusty. I thought it might be easier with a bit of an off-colour rust on the end of it to show you the machine surface rather than a brand new nice sexy drill. You can hardly see what's happening. So another thing that people do wrong is there's a little white mark on either side. Now that little white mark is only used for split points and also for setting up and using sharpening masonry drill bits. So you've got to forget about, if you're just doing normal sharpening, forget about the white mark. It's what people tend to do is they see the 118 mark written on here, and so they go, oh yeah, let's just line this white mark up with the 118, and that completely screws up your drill bit. So forget the white mark for now. It's these two pieces of plastic here that stick out a bit. Either of those, doesn't matter which one, they go into the side here. Now I put it into the centre for 118. If you would like to have more, what would you say, more relief on your drill bit to make it more aggressive, let's say you're doing a lot of timber work and you really wanted to honk into it, then you can push it around to the plus symbol. There's a little plus symbol. I'd only go one, probably either side. So if you would like your drill bit to be a little bit less aggressive, you can go to the minus side. If you go too far to the minus side, your drill bit won't cut because it'll be rubbing on the heel. And if you go too aggressive, well, especially in metal work, it's just going to grab. So the next stage is how to insert the drill bit to get the right cut. So what we'll do is we'll put our little knob here. We've got at the moment that's at the full depth of cut, and then pushed all the way out is going to be the minimum. So let's put it sort of just a little bit in. Press down this lever here, remembering what I said about forgetting. Don't forget. Do forget the white marks. Slide it in, and then it's holding it a little bit too tight. It needs to be able to move, and just let go of these jaws, and you'll see that they have twisted the drill bit to be lined up correctly. Now I like to just put my thumb on here, put a little bit of pressure, and just tighten this up a bit. So the drill's not going to move. Push the button down, remove the drill bit, the chuck with the drill bit, and now tighten it up by hand, a good amount. Now we're going to move on to actually sharpening the drill bit. So the little switch at the back, there's no extra speeds or anything. And what we're going to do when we turn it on is basically pop it in here, and it's a rocking motion. So I start near the highest hump, and basically you twist it in and out, and you'll see it rocking back and forwards as you're twisting it. Obviously the machine's not on. Another problem that people do is they just go spin, 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 and they do it really quickly, and they don't keep this piece of plastic always rubbing against that pin. Must rub against the pin. Now I've just been dry rubbing that on there, but let's just turn the machine on. drop it in. Keep it pressed always up against the pin. You keep going. You can count the revolutions and end up on a even side if you wanted to. I just go till it pretty much doesn't cut much anymore. Right. Now if we have a bit of a look, you can just see the new edge starting to form. So it's now cut to the depth that it was set before. Now we need to put it back in again to go again, because we need to produce some more material, remove more material off the drill. So you loosen it up once again in the drill, in the chuck, pop it back in on your 118 mark, and what I like to do is push the drill in, give the drill a bit of a wriggle. You can see the jaws are in a nice orientation. Tighten down your chuck a little bit, press down the button, withdraw the chuck, tighten it up, go again. Remembering to always run this egg shape or ellipse, I suppose, on this pin. You don't have to push it hard, just always leave it on there. So you can see it's growing. This drill was obviously cut at a different angle than this one, than the setting that I have now. Ordinarily your drill bits would all have the same angle, especially if you use the sharpener a lot. And the idea is when the drills are starting to lose their edge, you quickly run it through here quickly. It only takes like 2 minutes to sharpen up a drill that is starting to lose its edge. If you wait until it's completely knackered and you've burnt the end off the drill, then you know there is more time involved. Good thing about the 750 and I think the 500 is that if you find that this is taking too long, too many goes on a drill bit that needs a fair bit of shaping, you can make the thickness, the depth of cut more. So that could be the end of part 1, because I notice one of my cameras is nearly out of battery. Good old Sony battery hog. So we'll continue on sharpening this drill until we get it sharp all the way across. Once again, put it in, let the flutes be straightened up by the little jaws, do it up slightly so it doesn't move, pull it out, do it up tight, turn the machine on, rubbing against that cam. Where are we now? Any further? Now you might decide, oh, I want to take a little bit more off, so I like to back it off one flat. Loosen it back off again. Put in your back in, put the chuck back in, drill back in, holds on, jaw straighten it up, tighten up a bit, withdraw it carefully, do it up, turn it back on, rinse and repeat. Okay, so we're nearly all the way across there now. Just a little tiny little bit on the heel. That basically shows you how to sharpen an ordinary drill bit. If you had 135mm, 135 degree drill bits, then you'll change that angle, as I said with mine, just underneath the 135 mark. If you want a less aggressive drill, you go to the minus, up on this setup here, and to the plus for more aggressive. Or if you find your drill isn't cutting, even though it looks sharp, it's possibly hasn't got enough aggressiveness, or the heel is still rubbing, so you'll need to go a little bit towards the plus. Now, split points. I wouldn't recommend, personally, changing your drills that you already have to split points, because it is a lot of material that needs to be removed. So what I'll do is, on a smaller drill, again a beater drill that's all rusty, so we can see what's happening, you do need to remove the little dust cover. As you can see by the bits and pieces falling out of it, it's designed to stop, your high-speed steel dust going on around the workshop. Just let me reset, and we'll get back and do the split points. Oh yeah, so we're going to put a split point on this drill bit. Left it rusty, so you can see things are changing. So let's you sharpen it as normal. So we tighten up our little chuck because the other drill was a lot bigger. Okay, remember, forget the white lines. Line up either of these two protruding tabs. Pretty difficult to try and do this avoiding all the cameras. Okay, so he's good there. Tighten up. Pull out. Tighten up properly. Right. Sharpen as usual. Leave your drill in the chuck, how it was. Now this drill had already been sharpened before, so it didn't need any other change. Now we need to go onto the other side. I've already removed the little dust cover. And this is where these white tabs do mean something. This is what we have to use now. So the white tabs are at 180 degrees from each other, so across from one another. So we turn the machine back on, and we're going to insert this and line up, and it lines up easily, those two that white tab. Not sure if it's seen there very well. And there is a notch in the side of the housing. And all we do is a pressing motion, you just push it in. So turn it back on, and then you turn it 180 degrees and do the other side. You can turn it a few times, do each side a few times if you want to. Because this hasn't had a split point on it, it might take a few more goes. So you just line up the right mark, press it in. It's sort of a bit of a feel thing, you don't sort of just slam it in there. So on and so forth. Until you feel that you're not getting any value anymore out of the cut. So it's starting to make the split point. If you want the split point to be a bit more aggressive, I suppose you can say, what you can do is you can put it back into the machine, and instead of this locating tab being on the 118 degrees, move it round to the minus just one slot and reset up. One slot round. Just make sure that okay, so the problem I've got, this drill isn't loose in here, so it's not turning. So I need to fix that up. There we go. Now the jaws are able to orient the drill in the right spot. So, was I on the 118 mark? Yes, I was. Thought I forgot about that. Let's go back again. Okay. Tighten him up. It's just a bit hard trying to avoid all these cameras. Right, now don't sharpen it this time. This time we take it round straight to the split point department. Turn the machine on and plunge again, exactly the same, lining the white mark up with the gouge or the groove in the side of the housing. Right, so now you can see, possibly, there is more of the material being taken off the side of the drill, but avoiding this cutting edge. You don't want to have it split so that it ruins the cutting edge. So that's how you do a split point. Now let's do masonry. Haven't got very many masonry drill bits. So how you do them, put it back in the chuck. This time there are two marks. Two marks, one there, one there. Put in your drill bit. And the flats of your drill need to line up with those two marks best you can. Now, this is not easy. I'm trying to do this. My hand's over a camera. What you need to do is you need to line it up and not have this so that it is too tight, because the only depth that you use now is, so once again we're using our white marks. So with the white marks we push it down, lining it up with this centre of this cam, not cam, centre of this pin, and you press it in with the machine off to get your depth. Now I didn't press that in far enough, but what I can do is instead I can press the drill down. And that drill now is touching the diamond wheel. So at this point you hold the ellipse part so it doesn't spin, and just tighten it up a bit pull it out, tighten it up well, turn the machine back on, and once again we're only going to plunge, no turning. This is plunge, and it's plunging on the white mark on the centre of the pin. Straight down. Turn it 180, straight down. It's really difficult to see. Around 180, it's a feel thing, I don't like flogging it really hard. Rotate them a few times. Now you can see the shiny new edge starting to form on this masonry bit here. Now that's been flattened on the nose there, not by this operation, but my previously mucking around and doing it wrong. So you can see the shiny coming up. Now if you have a masonry drill bit that is bigger, or it really isn't doing anything much when you set the depth, what I've found you can use as a bit of a cheat. We all have these sort of, quite often they come around wrapped in cables like a little tie, and pick one that's really thin. So what you can do is, this is going to be really hard to see, but the base of this pin here is where basically this portion here touches. So what you can do a bit of a trick in which you put this in between the pin and this white mark, so that when you initially go for your depth, you end up making that want to cut an extra thickness of this tie, and so that allows you to get more purchase or more work done on your drill bit. Now once again, when you do that, I'd only put it in lightly and have a listen to the sound, and you can sort of gauge how much it's cutting, turn it, do it on the, don't just force it in there until it stops and then force it in, that's called tool abuse. I hope that's been helpful. Yeah, give it a go. They're a good little machine. But main idea is, they're not designed for reshaping a drill bit that's completely munted, i.e. snapped off. While you could do it, you'll probably put way too much wear on your little diamond stone. They are replaceable. But the idea is your drill bit's starting to get dull. As soon as you don't see nice shavings, nice spirals coming off with your material, just get in there and quickly give it a bit of a tart up and back into it. Like, if you leave your machine set up, you could be back using that same drill bit within a minute.